How's it going, everyone? I'm Vortex TCG, and we're finally back with some brand new gameplay videos of a brand new format. Yes, I feel like I've been waiting so long to say this, but we finally get BT11, and we're playing against a pretty big deck of this format in BlackWarGreymon X Antibody, and I'll be playing the new Justimon support. And if you are looking forward to more Justimon content on the channel or just more gameplay videos in general, do feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm posting every other day, and so the start here is pretty okay from me. I get to go into a level 4, and then I go for a Mamemon. Mamemon is one of the new BT11 cards, which I think is kind of insane. On play and when Digivolving, you get to reveal top 5, and then you get to play a Black Tamer. Not add to your hand, play the Black Tamer. This means stuff like Izzy, Kazu, Rio in this deck become way more alive. And so, as you can see here, I'm able to go into the Izzy, which allows me to gain a memory and continue my turn and end it by on a Rio. So obviously a little bit lucky there, but really strong, as you can gather. And so my opponent is going to then promote into the Greymon, gain a memory because it's Digievolving from a Agu. Then use the new Tamer. I'm still unfamiliar with a lot of the new stuff of this set, but this goes into the Greymon X Antibody, which is really broken in my opinion. Allows you to basically reduce the cost by 2, and he has to pass. And if you've played Justimon, this is what you love to see: a 5 cost on the field that you could get rid of easily. And so I go to the Justimon and then delete the Greymon, and it doesn't have any protection here because the Yuya only protects the Digimon from option cards, I believe, and Justimon is not an option. So I swing a security, I use the effects to gain additional DP, unsuspend, and get another tap. And it's 2k DP, so it's got 13 more KDP, which means I get 2 checks. The first one was a BlackWarGrey X Antibody, so a little bit worrying. Then swing again, and again another BlackWarGrey. And a Metal Grey from security. At this point, I feel like I'm in a really strong position. My opponent doesn't have anything in raising, he doesn't have any call boys, he doesn't have any follow-up, so I feel like at this point I have sorted this game out completely. My opponent obviously not very familiar with this matchup. I'm sure if he was to, know that I could delete 5 costs when I Digivolve or when I attack, he probably wouldn't have promoted it, but it is what it is, and we take advantage of that situation. And so my opponent goes into the Greymon, and then he's going to consider what he wants to do, and he's probably going to summon out an Agumon, and then I swing for game. And so we get on to game 2, and my opponent gets to start off first. He goes into the Black Agumon, so it's quite safe to say this is the black build. I know a lot of people have an opinion on this, but I think black build's kind of interesting, has some utility, but I also probably like the red build a little bit more. He plays as Yuya, and then I get to play Black Memory Boost into Izzy, so feeling pretty good, got some pretty good setup here for the following turns. And so he'll go into Agu X, which allows him to reveal top 3, and then he adds, this is a misplay, it wasn't supposed to add the Agumon here, it was supposed to be the Greymon, and I'm pretty sure he corrects himself very quickly after. Yep, so you can see that we're both, like, I guess more him than me, but we're both learning the BT11 versions of these decks. So he thought he could get he couldn't get the Greymon. Oh no, he could get the Agumon even, but he had to get the Greymon, which I don't think is bad at all. So he then goes into the Grey X Antibody, providing it with protection as well. I get food off to the side. What a lovely time. And so now he's just considering what he wants to do. He plays out the Agumon, giving me free memory on my turn. He gets a pretty good haul here of the Metal Greymon. He's just checking, I believe, because I think this one allows you to add a Greymon and then a Dragonkin. Not too sure. I don't really see this by Agumon that much, but I promote my Monodramon. I go into Guardramon here, pop the memory boost to go into a Cyberdramon, uses effect to go into a Rio, then Rio effect to then add the only Dramon I could there, and then I go into Justimon to delete his stack. He misplays again, unfortunately. And is not able to protect his stack, so I'm feeling really good in this position. I've got 2 Tamers out. He only has a Rookie out, so I'm feeling pretty good at this situation. He goes for a Call Boy. He doesn't find the Agu-X antibody, so a little bit less consistency for him. But he has a level 5, so I assume he's going to go for the level 5 X anti, and he does. He goes into the Agu-X antibody. I thought you couldn't do this, but the requirement is just an Agumon, so you can. Didn't know that. And so he gets an additional search and a memory, and then he plays a red memory boost to pass the turn to him. And so I told him it's 4 cards, and he got a little bit annoyed because it's the Omnimon on top. And here I'm a little bit, I'm feeling pretty good because I can unsuspend and, go for more DP check. Currently it'll be around like 14k. So a pretty decent number. So I swing into security using the Rio to give it additional boost. And then using the effects to trash and then draw 2, then unsuspend, and then also gain additional 2k DP. And yeah, this is where like I felt like I pretty much lost the game, because at this point, like, I don't think I'll ever be able to get that far ahead again. And I play my Dramon here, don't hit a single Tamer, so not really good luck for me on this one. And so I have to pass the turn by going to Strike Dramon. But that one swing into the 16k Omnimon, and I think nothing else is big enough in the deck that could stop my Justimon. Especially as I saw the Omnimon in his search. It really hurt. It really hurt, because I feel like if I was able to do something here, like such as go for another swing, applying more pressure, probably could have done a lot more this turn. So a bit bitter about that for sure. And so at this point, I've just got to try and figure out what I have to do to avoid this metal stack, potentially. So I pop the black memory boost here, and then I play another black memory boost, because I just can't, I believe at this point I can't find a level 5, and I find a level 5, which is good. And then I have to, I'm just considering what I need to do, because I know this is going to get deleted. So I swing, and then I swing into the Agumon just to control the board a little bit. And then I will then go into the Mamimon. Like, I already knew that because of me pushing all my stuff up, the Strike Dramon was going to die anyways, unfortunately. So didn't feel very good. Either way, and going into the Mamimon and not finding a Tamer is quite frustrating. He Digivolves, draws 2, gain 2 memory, and I believe it gets deleted here. I'm not too we're both learning the decks here, so we're still a little bit unsure. Yeah, so he's just quickly checking the effects, and he would delete the Mamimon. Oh no, it wouldn't delete it because of the DP increase, so he just swings into it. Unfortunate, get the Pagumon, and then get a Justimon from that, and then he plays a X antibody, adding the Greymon Black to his hand. And yeah, I'm not really in a good position anymore. Like, I don't really have any board presence. I could build up another stack, but I'm a bit worried that the following next turn, essentially, he has pretty much everything he needs. So I go into this stack of Strike-Dramon and then Mamemon, and then I have to go into the Justimon in raising to hopefully deal with the board later, but not too sure if I can survive this turn. So he goes into the X antibody, gains 2 memory, and yeah, like, this is one of the things that I think people are going to find the most annoying about X antibody, especially BlackWarGrey in this format, is the fact that Cool Boy is just so good. I don't know what they were thinking when they were making this card, and I think if this deck was to get hit, like, bearing in mind Crossheart got hit prematurely, I would say, if they were going to hit this deck, I think it would be hitting the Cool Boy, because I think the Cool Boy just makes this work so much better than it needs to. He then goes into the BlackWarGrey, passes, and deletes my Izzy. So I'm at 1 memory. I'm not in a good position at all. So I'm just considering what I'm doing with my hand, because at this point, yeah, I mean, I have to play another Tamer, and essentially I really cannot play another Tamer. So I will promote, and it's difficult from this point on, because I just don't know what you're meant to do in this situation, quite frankly, because it is just like so hard to navigate, especially when you have a lot of moving pieces like Justimon, because Justimon, you have like a lot of combos here that you could potentially do here, especially with the different versions of Justimon. Like, I could go into, I believe it's the critical arm to delete a guy. So I'm doing, I believe, 2 checks here, and I think this is where I make the mistake. I go into the critical arm for 1, using its effect to return a guy to delete, but I didn't realize what this card did as an inheritable, because I thought it was just similar to the other X antibody cards, but it gets protection. So yeah, not great for sure. So I probably should have, if I wanted to force this stack out of the game, I probably should have used the Justimon effect to maybe not unsuspend and then delete the Greymon, because it is a 5 cost. He would then have to bounce, and then I would have to delete it that way, maybe. It's a bit awkward, to say the least. I think in hindsight, I probably should have deleted the Agu X antibody and then also force the X antibody underneath. So here's what it is. You learn. My actual first time playing against this deck, so he gets effects, and then he gets de-digivolved, but doesn't get deleted, so lucky me, I guess. Then goes into the X antibody for 1, so yeah, very strong position from my opponent. Has another X antibody in hand because he's gone through most of his deck, so it doesn't really surprise me at this point. And then he swings and then unsuspends. I get to add I believe that's a Gardramon. And yeah, he has full control of this game. Like, I can't do enough in my turns, essentially, to deal with this. He finds another X antibody, so not really much going on here. He swings into the security. I believe he's potentially triggering the effect of X antibody to go into the X antibody version to swing, and obviously it's higher DP. And then he goes into the Greymon to pass me to 2 because he doesn't have Agu underneath it. So as he unsuspends, he trashes the top one, and at this point I understand that I can't really do that much, and so I give him the game. Alright, and we get into game 3. At this point, I'm feeling a bit deflated for sure, and I don't really have a good opening hand. This is one of the things that I'm trying to figure out with Justimon, which is the ratios of the Justimon, because I feel like sometimes I just don't have what I need. And so what I end up doing here is I have to pass onto a Tankmon, so I'm giving him as much memory as he needs essentially. This is enough for pretty much any combo at any given time for an X antibody deck. So we'll see what he does, and he pretty much has a lot of the answers here. So he goes to the Cool Boy, searches out the X antibody Metal Grey. So at this point I'm just hoping he doesn't have the Metal Grey, because if he has the Metal Grey here, I'm screwed, because it will delete the Tankmon and I'm pretty much out of the game. You have to bear in mind at this point that all my Digimon in hand are level 5s and level 6s, so I am not in a great position right here. So he goes into the Metal, and then I realise that this game's pretty much over, because then he just goes into the Metal X and deletes it, and then I'm way too far behind for any answer. So he does it, deletes the guy, and I just scoop because I don't have a single answer from this point on.